there will be no more Japanese babies because of this. What's up everybody, I'm Asagi. Welcome back to my channel where you can find Japan with no BS. So Japan is facing a rapidly aged population. The birth rate has fallen to 1.2 children per woman, leading to a shrinking population. As of recent data, Japan's population has been steadily decreasing. It could decline by nearly one-third by 2050. A lot of people seem to
One-third by 2050? Dang, man. That sucks.
be curious to know why this is happening, because a lot of other countries are facing similar demographic trends too. What Japan is experiencing right now
Other countries as well? Like what country?
can happen to your country in the near future. As a dating advisor in Japan and a mom who is raising a 2-year-old son, I take this issue very seriously. This time I'm sharing 3 reasons why
Well, you got to creating babies, so what's wrong with the other people? I don't get it.
Japanese population is declining so rapidly. This is my observation as a person who knows dating scene and trends in Japan, and as a mom, I know the challenge in raising kids in Japan, so I believe my POV helps you understand what's happening in Japan, so keep on watching. And this time I will get help from my assistant, Ashton.
This is how procrastination manifests in high performing man. This is me before putting things off, waking.
Number 1 reason, no money, no children. Japan's economy had stagnated after
Man, it's all about that money, man. Money, money, money.
the collapse of the asset price bubble in the early 90s. And the economy hasn't recovered even until this day. While houses, tuition, tax, everything are becoming expensive, workers' salary has continued to
Yeah, everything's becoming expensive. Even Chinese food, which I love. Man.
stagnate for over 30 years. So many people think they can't afford kids. Wait, Asagi, when it comes to financial situation, America is not good either. Many of us are living paycheck to paycheck, but we still raise kids somehow. That's a good point, Ashton.
Yes, I've always wondered the somehow. How are people raising kids? Especially like people from like the poor side of town, the downtown areas. They seem fine. Why can't the middle class and rich people be as fine as those people are? They seem pretty happy to me.
But the thing is, people in Japan cannot feel optimistic about the idea of having kids because the economy in Japan has been bad for nearly 40 years, whereas the economic struggles in the US
How many years?
or other European countries are relatively recent in comparison. In fact, Japanese government statistics says a lot of young men are struggling to get married because they don't think they have enough money. And what about Japanese women?
Alright, I could see that point. We all need money as men, but we don't got it, so we gotta settle for the adult videos for now.
The same statistic says that women's struggle are basically, I can't find someone who meets my criteria, or I'd rather give up marriage if that means I'd have to give up what I like to do. What? So you are saying you can't get married to a Japanese woman if you are not rich? I was hoping Japanese women are not gold diggers. Shame.
Can't believe this is happening in Japan as well. What? They're so technologically advanced and they're still going through these problems? Oh boy.
Shame, such a shame. Okay, Ashton, I know where it comes from, but most of Japanese women are not looking for rich men, but men who have financial stability. And aside from this economic
Financial stability. How much money is that? Hmm? Is that like middle class money? Upper middle class money? Lower rich class money?
difficulty, there are also cultural nuance to it. Japanese women's salary is becoming as high as men's when it comes to women who are single. Married women, on the other hand, they are
Which means they're getting just as much money as men, which means they're going to want to go for men who have more money than them because that's what women are wired to be doing. So that's a problem, ain't it?
salary is significantly lower than men because mothers are still expected to give up on their career in Japanese society. And not gonna lie, Japanese men have this
So in Japan, women have to give up on their careers. That's a problem. For the women, that is.
reputation that they don't really contribute to housework or childcare regardless of their income. Because of this cultural background, moms in Japan nowadays are often forced to work part-time or even full-time and do all the housework and childcare as well, while husbands can't really contribute to their households so much. There's a reason Japanese men can't really do that, which I will mention in the next chapter. But from women's perspective, what's the point of a relationship if they have to do everything in the relationship? Therefore, single women nowadays choosing to stay single. So basically, this long-term economic stagnation is affecting Japan's modern dating life and relationships. Reason number 2 is definitely toxic work culture and poor childcare support.
I've heard about their work culture. Man, it's tough over there. You gotta work for like what, 10 to 15 hours a day? Especially in the anime industry. Man, it's tough. Boy.
When it comes to making more babies in the country, providing the right environment for parents who want to have second kids, third kids, or even more would be a great idea, right? But as a mother of a child, I don't think Japan has the environment. First of all, we definitely lack childcare options due to the economic
Never really heard Japanese people speak about childcare. This should be interesting.
concerns and the rise of women's rights in Japan. A lot of the parents want to have a double income, which is probably the
So women don't have rights in Japan. Okay.
same in your country. However, daycare availability hasn't definitely kept up with it. Especially in the Tokyo area, many children are still waiting for the vacancies of daycare houses. There aren't enough daycare houses, mainly because of the lack of carers, while the demand is getting so much bigger. In my case, for example, it took solid 1 year to find and start sending my son to a daycare. Also in Japan, hiring
Why do we even need daycares? The woman stay at home and raise the child, but I guess in this generation, the men ain't making enough money for that to happen. So that's pretty sad.
babysitters isn't so common and it's very expensive. And also there is an aspect that individual and households in big cities such as Tokyo or Osaka, they are pretty much isolated and people don't have many friends to look after each other. Even grandparents are
So friendship is a problem in Japan as well. Who would have thought that?
either living far away or not willing to babysit their grandchildren. Because when they were raising their children, many moms were able to focus on childcare without worrying too much about their finances. So they didn't have to rely on their parents, right? So modern parents like us don't have a choice other than sending our children to daycare, and we are fighting for our lives to find one. And toxic work culture is definitely affecting too. For example, mothers cannot really go back to work. So we have paid childcare leave. And mothers can take up to 1 year of leave, which is nice, but for fathers,
1 year is crazy.
they couldn't take one until very recently. Now government started to encourage fathers to take it, but it's only for 4 weeks, which is
Fathers to take leave like that? Nah.
1 month. What can they do in a month, right? So when a household think about their financial stability, most likely moms take much longer leave than fathers. And as I mentioned, many of them are struggling to find daycare options. If they can't find it, then moms have to quit their jobs. And that makes it harder for them to go back to work.
Man, everywhere's suffering.
This law is pushing us into a stereotypical gender role, hence we don't have flexibility in childcare. One more thing to mention when it comes to working culture is that fathers work long hours at their workplaces. This gender role is definitely causing stress for fathers too. In Japanese companies, men are expected to spend longer time at work. And you might have an issue with getting promotion or incentives if you don't follow the rule. And do they get paid more by doing so?
Nope.
That's not always the case. This is one of the reasons many fathers in Japan cannot really contribute to childcare or housework because they are working long hours. Okay, that's a fair point, but maybe they can still start a family once they establish their career in their...
The crazy thing is I just realized that was just her pretending to be an American. The heck am I smoking today?
30 or 40. Sadly, that's not happening in Japan, and that comes from the challenge in dating, which is my specialty. So the reason number 3 is dating hardships to parasocial relationships. So the stereotype people have for Japanese people, which is true, is that Japanese people are shy. People in the big cities rarely talk to strangers, which makes
I've heard they're pretty shy. But how shy are they?
it harder for you to meet new people in real life. That's why in the past, people were setting you up all the time. Arranged marriage was quite common up until mid-90s, and until a decade ago,
Bring the arranged marriage back. That would solve a lot of problems in the world.
getting married to co-workers was the most popular way to meet spouses. And there are always that senpais, superiors, who were willing to be a wingman or a wingwoman.
あなた37でまだ結婚してないの私独身の子知ってるから紹介してあげる
And they were taking big part in making couples in Japan. But as companies become more cautious about harassment and troubles, people cannot talk about personal information such as dating status at work anymore. And Japanese people who spend so much time at work, which is so many, they don't have ways to meet new people. And that dating hardships leads to parasocial relationships. So what's happening to singles in
YouTube.
Japan when they can't feel optimistic about their future and cannot find the partner to get through with? Well, they give up on dating and go into an easy solution: parasocial relationships. So parasocial relationship is to fall in love with a person or people who are public figures or even anime characters and such. We actually call it oshikatsu,
And that's where it got cut off. So yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, now. Let's see if my drawings got saved. Open. Okay, so it saved some of it, but not all. Okay. But there you have it. The Hakuchos are always trying to stop me from doing my thing, man. For years now. You got to see it for yourself. Peace. It's frozen. My computer has frozen. Oh my gosh.